evening and a warm welcome to Big Budget Business. On today's show, we talk to Thulaganyo Linchwe, whose financial sector business is targeted specifically at women. And we also discuss the general underrepresentation of women in the financial sector. And in our 2-minute tip, we'll talk to you about some organizations that you might want to be aware of because they can benefit you as a young business person. Thulaganyo, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, BigBudget.
All right. So let's start with a basic introduction of you, Thulaganyo, the individual.
Yes. Okay. So I was born and raised in Lobatse, and then that's where I did my education, and then I moved to Bloemfontein, where I did my tertiary studies, and I moved back home 2 years ago.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
What about Thulaganyo, the entrepreneur? Where did this knack for business start?
Okay. So I was looking for products that would work for me as a woman. As much as there's a lot of financial services out there, I wanted something that is specific for women. And it was, difficult for me to find something like that. And then I decided to put my skills to good use and work on something like that. That's
Absolutely.
really how it came about. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So it was birthed from wanting to solve a problem.
Yes, wanting to solve a problem. And the other thing about the industry as well is there's a lot of red tape. So I also had to sit down and think about, okay, but how can I do this? And then that's where the financial coaching came about.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So Femme Finances,
Yeah.
tell us about this business.
Okay. So basically what Femme Finances is about is coaching women on personal finances, either individually or groups, but I mainly work with groups, but yes, even on an individual basis, we can still.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And this is specifically for women.
Specifically for
So
women.
too bad for us.
Yes, no. There's a lot of services that are tailored for men, but I wanted something that is really tailor-made for women. My thing is we need to start having conversations about finances as women. We've been talking about makeup and clothes and all of those things forever. So it's time we change the tone.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe give us a few of your highlights within this Femme Finances aspect.
So it's been a year, no funding, no nothing, and just winging it in a lot of ways, and I've made my mistakes. I've learned a lot along the way. But I think my highlight is just knowing that my client spectrum is very vast. I have people from across the world. Thank God for social media.
Wow.
And when I started, my aim was it wasn't Botswana, it wasn't Africa, but just that the service should be able to reach a young woman from wherever she may be around the world. And within a year, I've been able to achieve that.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of uptake from
There
women
is.
who would like to know more about finances.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. Maybe let's talk about the underrepresentation of women within the financial sector. What's your take on this?
Okay.
And also as a follow-up, would you say there are challenges that women face with respect to progression?
Okay. So I think my observation has been that, because we don't have a lot of women graduating in finance-related fields, it then becomes a challenge in the workspace. Because if we have 2 actuaries, I'm just saying randomly, how are we going to have women actuaries across, the field? So I think the main thing is just encouraging women to move away from, the things that we're used to studying before and look at the financial services industry. And the thing about it is that there's a lot of disciplines within finance that you can venture into. So, I'm just not sure what the tertiary institutions are offering currently, but my advice would be if you are able to go outside the country and further your studies, do that by all means. And then, in terms of the challenges for progression, I feel it also just depends on the industry. Because for example, a few years ago, we had quite a few MDs in the insurance sector, but that might not be the case, for example, in your parastatals or something of that
Absolutely.
sort. So I just feel like it also just depends on the sector.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
No, that's great. And maybe to take you back a bit,
Yeah.
you studied?
I studied financial planning and law.
Financial planning, okay.
Yes.
All right. So would you maybe tell us what inspired the mix between finance and law?
So from a young age, I always knew that I want a career in business. Then I didn't have the vocab of finance. And in law as well, inspiration from my dad. So when I got to varsity, I was fortunate enough that the university that I went to was offering, they had BCom law, which was my plan. And then financial planning law was then a new course at that point. So I thought, okay, I don't know what this is about, but I might as well just go and find out. And really, that's how I got it. And I fell in love with it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So as entrepreneurs, we tend to be people who wear many hats.
Yes.
Is there anything that you are doing perhaps on the development side or non-profit, any other activities?
So I'm very big on women empowerment. In fact, the first time I had the word feminist was from my English teacher in high school. And I think from as young back as then, I knew, okay, fine, this is exactly who I am. So I do quite a bit in that space, working with the women, working with the underprivileged. That's mainly how I spend my December holidays, actually. Yes.
All right. So let's go back to the educational aspect.
Yes.
What would you say to a young woman out there who perhaps wants to venture into your field? Are there any particular courses or programs of study that you would recommend?
Okay. So anything from investment management, financial planning. I think investment management, financial planning would work. But even if you have a qualification in just any business or finance related course, my advice would be then you would have to follow it up with a postgrad in financial planning, which is what I'm currently studying as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And then is there, in your particular sector, is there any type of professional body that you're registered with? Or?
Yes, we have the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa, which I am a member of.
Okay.
So basically with the FPI, that's what we call it. So depending on your experience in the industry, we have a year's experience. You then become what we call a registered financial practitioner. Then your second year, you become a financial services advisor. And then the third year, you become a certified financial planner, which is the aim.
Oh, all right.
Yes,
okay, so
yes.
you're currently at the stage of?
I'm currently a registered financial practitioner.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
No, so we'll be following you closely to ensure that you get that. Now that we will be holding you accountable.
Exactly.
All right. So maybe let's look at the issue of woman to woman and also, woman to man mentorship.
Yes.
Would you say there's much of an uptake with respect to mentorship by women in leadership positions?
I mean, from personal experience, I haven't had that opportunity.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't rule it off. I guess there is, but my experience since having moved back home, it's been a little difficult, and I'm saying this as somebody who attends women's high teas and all of those kind of things, but still, and I remember reading a book on women in leadership. It's called Lean In.
Okay.
By Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, and that's my Bible. Wow. I read it every year, and I encourage every woman to get a copy of that book. Yes. Anyway, so one of the things she said was that, with mentorship, don't go seeking it out. The right people, the right person, will sort of identify you, and it also just boils down to the synergy between, both of you, right? So my thing would just be work hard, do your thing. If you find a mentor, good for you. If not, it's also okay. But obviously, I wish, we had a lot of opportunities like that, especially as young women in corporate. You know, we see all these women, we look up to them, but then it's just difficult to be able to get hold of them. You don't know how, you don't know where. Like I'm saying, I have been to a couple of events, but you know, it's, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's a challenge that maybe
Yeah.
someone out there might want
also
to
relate.
work on and see
Yes.
how they can link women together.
Exactly.
All right. So I think just lastly, how can young people access your services?
Okay, so I work on a pre-booking
Okay.
basis. So you go on the website and then you book, and then yes. Currently, I work through Zoom.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
So currently, I work through Zoom, and yeah, that's just how it is. You pre-book, you know, we set everything up, and we take it from there.
All right. No, thank you very much for this. I think it's good that your business is specifically tailored for women. Here's something that's innovative, something that's different, and I'm sure we hope you all. We wish you all the best. I'm sure a lot of people will contact you.
Thank
you
you
so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Right, our 2-minute tip for today. We'll tell you about some organizations that you may want to be aware of, or you may want to register with as a young business person, because there are some benefits to this. Number one would be the Local Enterprise Authority, which is LEA. And what they do is provide business development and support for your small business. And then you can also go to the Citizen Entrepreneurial Development Agency, or CEDA. What they do is they give financial and technical assistance to businesses. Number three, Business Botswana. Business Botswana is a private sector organization which basically serves as like a representative body for businesses in general. And then, of course, there is the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Board. If you are someone who's interested in submitting your bids for government tenders, you may want to register with PPADB. And finally, of course, let's not forget the taxman, Botswana Unified Revenue Services, BURS. It's important for us to make sure that we pay our corporate taxes. So once again, we have the Local Enterprise Authority, the Citizen Entrepreneurial Development Agency, Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Board, Business Botswana, and of course, Botswana Unified Revenue Services. So from me, Big Budget, and the team, it's good night and God bless. And remember that you were born for so much more.